this is for travel. We got to Dulles like 3 hours early, and then we had another hour delay on the plane, and then we had a 5-hour flight, and then we were supposed to have an hour and a half bus ride to our school where we were staying, but it turned into a 3-hour bus ride, and then we finally got there at like 3 a.m.
Yeah, so actually Evan's gonna go first.
Oh, I am. Okay. So, first day we went into Ay Bonito town, a few minutes away. We just kind of walked around and saw the things. I really enjoyed that. We went to this frozen yogurt place, and it was good. You can see the fuggler there with our frozen yogurts. And there was this lady like yelling something about like pesos, which is interesting because they use U.S. dollars there. So I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, so after we went around Ay Bonito, we went back to where we were staying at, which was like a abandoned school because it shut down, which was unfortunate. Well, it was kind of abandoned. Yeah, and we hung out around there and explored like the area, and then eventually like around night we started playing like group games like hide and seek. Yeah, so it was really cool getting to explore the area we were staying in.
On Tuesday, we went into San Juan, and we first went to the Fort El Morro, which is up there in some of the pictures. And the fort was built to protect the island from all sides from sea attacks. And then after that, we walked around San Juan for a little bit.
Yeah, so after that, we went to the beach. I got called a gringo a lot, but the water was really blue, and then we were just messing around quite a bit with a couple of frisbees and soccer balls. The lifeguards yelled at us, and then we got out and played soccer and just had like a good time.
The experience, like overall, we slept in small rooms, like Owen said, in the school. The closest thing to AC that we had was just the breeze and then 2 small fans that we fought over overnight. Our breakfasts were pretty nice. Fresh bread, fresh fruit. To get around, we had vans, and we also had like this bus in Puerto Rico. They call it a guagua, which is really weird.
On Wednesday, we went on a hike and through the rainforest. It was about a 40-minute drive there from where we stayed, and the views were really amazing because there was kind of like a little like castle on top of the mountain, and the hike was about an hour and a half. And yeah.
So after our hike, our host Eileen, she made us a meal up at this beautiful spot on a mountain, and we had dinner up there, and then we did a campfire, roasted s'mores, sang hymns, and just hung out.
So in Puerto Rico, they have a type of frog called the coqui, and its name comes from the sound it makes. It kind of makes like a coqui sound. And we heard it pretty much every night and all around the island. They are super small and very hard to catch, and they're native to Puerto Rico and are the symbol of the island. And while kayaking, our guide told us that there are 17 species of coqui frogs living there.
Yeah, there was a lot of other wildlife there too. There were dogs that would just like follow us on our hikes, and there were iguanas. But overall, like the environment was really great. It was really hot, which I guess we shouldn't be complaining about because it was freezing here. But it was good. There were some tiny bugs that bit us a lot, but nothing too bad.
And then over the trip, we got to go to the beach a few times. I think we went to like 4 different beaches, and they were all really, really pretty with like really nice waves. And we could like eat on the beach. That was really fun.
Okay, so one of the nights we got to do a kayaking trip through the bioluminescent bay they had. So we all got on these kayaks, then we took like a 1-mile kayak to this lake that had a bunch of phytoplankton in it. And when you put your hand in the water and like shook it around, you could like see sparkles in the water. And yeah, they had us put a tarp over our heads so we could see it better. But yeah.
So basically, I think almost everybody built new relationships with people they probably wouldn't have if we were here in school. We played a lot of games which really helped, like Mafia and Imposter,
and ultimate ball. Um, and one of the days, the girls decided that'd be a good idea to split half of us in one van, half of us in the other, which I don't really know how the boys felt about that, but I think it definitely helped a little bit.
So the Mennonite school that we were staying at was actually closed. So we went to a different Mennonite school around lunchtime to hang out with some of the students. And so you can see us eating lunch with them. Up there, there's the 7th graders. Most of them were fluent in English, but some people who came to this school later, such as some of the people I lunch with, came from a scholarship because they were good at volleyball, and they didn't speak as much English. And yeah, we just played some basketball and volleyball with them, and it was a fun time.
So the people of Puerto Rico were a very important part of our experience. I think from the tour guide to the bus driver to the people at the school, just everyone has been so supportive and amazing to help our experience be better. And I think in Puerto Rico, they value relationships more than almost anything, and that's just something I took away from the trip.
Yeah, I would say, going back to the people, it was definitely a highlight to meet everyone at the school. I mean, I made a bunch of friends there, and we got to play basketball and stuff with them. And yeah, that was just something I took away from the trip, how friendly everybody was. So.
One of the highlights for me was the food. Got to explore a lot of fresh fruit and fresh food, seafood. I got seafood about every chance I had. Fresh coconuts, and in addition to be able to just buy street food around the island, we also had some local ladies from our host church cook for us. And that was a really meaningful experience for us to share with them with the food.
So one of the people that cooked for us, her picture's up there, her name's Eileen, and she is just a force to be reckoned with. She was this amazing lady who's, my parents worked in Puerto Rico, as did Davi, my husband's, and she had worked with them. She's 79. She was like, I'm gonna cook for you. She shared her story about Puerto Rico. She loves to have people over. She very much was so excited that the students wanted to come because she loves Puerto Rico and is excited to share her story and share her culture and island with people. So it was really meaningful to have her and her friends talk with us, and wanted to help take care of us. So that was a great person to be able to connect with during most of our time there. Thank you for listening. Thank you all.
So our E-term was MDS, where we went to Washington State. So on Sunday, we got to the school at 2:45 in the morning and got a van, put a trail in the back and put all of our stuff in, and drove to DC, and then flew to Salt Lake for a layover, and then into Spokane. And then from Spokane Airport, we drove to Camp Gifford.
Yeah, so on the way back, we got, on the way there, we got 2 rentals because we had a lot of stuff. We had to have 5 duffel bags for bedding and stuff because, on the way back, we took a flight from Spokane to Chicago and then to Dulles. We got back at midnight.
Yeah, so kind of where we stayed in that house up there. It was part of Camp Gifford. It was kind of like Highland, for those of you who know it, but it was a little bit bigger. And that location, it was located in an area called Loon Lake, and there was a lake right across from the housing. Our work site was in Elk, so it was a 45-minute drive from where we were staying.
A lot of the MDS people were super kind, and we had like multiple people. So our cooks were Emma and Joyce. An officer manager was named Don. He kind of like managed like the finances. The project manager was Vern. He like bought all of the materials we needed for our projects and made sure we have everything we needed. And then Nate, Mary, Joyce, and there was another Dawn that were the crew leaders.
So our schedule for the day was we would wake up at around 6 in the morning, and then we would walk to the Spokane house where we would eat breakfast, and it was also where the leaders slept. We would eat breakfast at 6:15, and then there we would pack lunches for the work site. And then before breakfast, we would do some devotions, which we each signed up for every morning. And then it was a 45-minute drive to the work site, and we would get there at around 8:30. And then at around, I think, 12:30, we would eat lunch. And before that, we would have a snack, like in between. And then we would leave the job site at around 4, and then come back to the Spokane house and eat dinner at around 6. And then we would do reports on our day and the job site, and then just like play games and hang out afterwards.
Yeah, and the food they made us was like absolutely amazing. We were so full each night. They had like so much food and lots of sides and always dessert.
So we were working on houses that were burnt down in fires in 2023, and the fires destroyed around 126 homes and burnt about 10,000 acres, or about 17 square miles.
Yeah, so you can see up there that truck. There's trucks at both housing sites we were working on, and they were both in the fire, and you could see, you would walk up to it and like the metal would be completely melted underneath it on the ground, and then the glass from the windows would be in these tiny little balls because they would have been melted. And then like when you're driving in, you would see all these trees, and originally they were like really tall old pine trees that were, and then all of a sudden they would just all turn like black and burnt, and that was terrible. And one of the leader's wife, Native, was talking, and she said when they heard the fire coming, you could hear it. It sounded like a jet engine right over like a really loud roar, and she said that was one of the scariest things that's ever happened.
Yeah, so for the first work site, we did some leveling of dirt for the first day. And then the second day, we just wrapped the house around with special wrap and put rafters up and everything. Even put the metal ties up and some foam boards up.
Yeah, so that was at the first work site, I think. So like he said, we worked on putting the house wrap and later the foam boards and stuff like that. And then at the second house, we were working on the roofing and also foam things.
Okay. Are we gonna have the slide again, or it was okay? Okay, so the slide is back, and at the work site I was at, there where we were working on like the roofing and stuff, like Eli was just talking about. There, when we got there, there was a timber wolf, like on like a leash in the yard, and he was just sitting there. So I think it was Bill. That he was the guy, the owner of the land that we were working on. He said we could go say hi if we approached him from like if we turned our backs and walked towards him that way. Anyway, he was really nice, and this is a beautiful wolf. And I think that's most of it.
So this is my third MDS trip. I think for me, one of my favorite things, aside from getting to know the students, is sort of seeing the diversity of, well, I had never been out west, northwest at least, and that was pretty cool to see. I think the trees are like 95% pine out there. It's very different. That was exciting for me to see, but more so getting to know the people. I think we had one former Amish person on this trip who was one of the leaders of our crew leaders. And the owner of the wolf was a mix of a Choctaw and Iroquois, I think, and she was pretty fun to talk to, or listen to, rather. She told stories all night long. They came and joined us for supper. So that was really fascinating. I think she assigned colors to some of us, which we still don't understand. But that was a pretty fun cultural experience. And I think this question, since we got maybe a little time, if anybody else, this is unplanned. Does anyone from this group want to share how did your perceptions change, or what was a takeaway experience? For me, in talking to Native, is what her name was something much more difficult to pronounce, so she just went by Native. For me, it was sort of this idea of, as I heard her talking and sort of her acceptance of the world and talking about the fires and how in her culture it's a challenge for her, but she would sit in silence and listen to Creator. And so that was a challenge for me to just relax a little bit and not get so uptight and try to control my world, but just sit back and maybe try to talk to Creator a little more. So that was what I took from it. Anybody else?
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Kaufman. Listening to Native was like really interesting. She was really willing to share her culture and like kind of her way of living and her like relationship with her husband and everything. It was really interesting to hear her talk about everything. And yeah, it was really interesting also to hear about how she reacted and responded to the fire, and like her life changed so much, and she was really trying to be positive about it and look for the good in things, which inspired me. Anyway, yeah, that was the MDS E-term.